Great. Thank you very much for joining this expert hour session about OSHA compliance as part of SYNERGIZE 2021 Virtual Summit. Today, we have our panel together, so we'll be learning about how to comply OSHA on a high level, of course. We call it fundamentals of OSHA compliance. And we have Ron Loveland with us, President of Summit Safety and Efficiency. We know that Ron has years of experience in OSHA compliance and helping companies in manufacturing, construction, and other industries. And I'm glad that he's with us. Ron, welcome to our session, Expert Hour at SYNERGIZE 2021. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Also, appreciate it. Thank you. Also with us, there is Sam Watts, our pre-sales software engineer in this session as part of our engineering team. And Sam will be talking about QDMS, Quality Management and Compliance Management System from the scope of OSHA compliance. And we have our product manager, Ensemble and QDMS product manager who come back with us. And he'll also be supporting us for Q&A session at the end of our presentations. I work very closely with Ron. Our relationship goes all the way to HILI in Long Island, New York. So we are actually co-chairs of Manufacturing Committee of Hapag Industrial Association in Long Island. So we work very close. I work very close with Ron together, and I know that he had a lot of knowledge and background in OSHA compliance on his side. So I'm very excited to introduce you Ron Loveland, President of Summit Safety and Efficiency, co-chair of Manufacturing Committee of Hapag Industrial Association in Long Island, New York, and we'll learn about fundamentals of OSHA from Ron. After that, we'll continue with the digital compliance of OSHA. Ron, I'll stop sharing my screen, so please feel free to share your screen when you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience. You know, we run a safety, quality, and industrial engineering company here in the Metro New York area, a regional player, and we work primarily with manufacturers, distributors, and construction. On the construction side, you know, for those who are working in construction, especially in the New York City area, New York City Department of Buildings has really ramped up the safety requirements, which should be. You know, there's been accidents, there's been deaths, unfortunately, people falling from scaffolds and other accidents that are going on in construction sites in the city. So certainly an area to be paying attention to. So we're going to talk today about how to pass an OSHA or an EPA audit. You know, I think a lot of business owners are always concerned about who's going to come to the door, what issues are we going to have, and are we prepared? You know, kind of similar to what Alex was talking about, being prepared for the ISO auditor coming in. You know, if you have an OSHA person coming in or EPA person, there's some hefty fines you can get if you're not prepared. So let's talk a little bit about that. You know, what environmental health and safety challenges are you experiencing? You know, those of you who are in the industrial area, you know, what kind of some of the challenges you're thinking about? Once again, Summit Safety and Efficiency Solutions is primarily a manufacturing consulting firm. We help manufacturers thrive in high-cost Northeast U.S., and we do that through improving safety, quality, and efficiency. So let's talk about how to pass an OSHA audit. What are some of the challenges you may be facing? Are you in a high-risk pool? Have you had too many accidents? Are you restricted from business with big potential customers? We had a customer in the Brooklyn, New York area, in New York City that was trying to do business with SC Johnson, a big consumer products company here in the U.S. And SC Johnson took a tour through their facility, did a little site visit, and they said, not until you guys get a safety program in place. So the good news is we're able to help them establish a safety program, and they won a multi-million-dollar contract from SC Johnson, and we were off from there. So that was kind of our beginning stages, and that's now 10 years ago. We were working with this customer as an outsourced safety officer. Is OSHA and EPA breathing down your neck? Do you not have a formal environmental health and safety program? You know, a lot of the companies I talk to say, oh yeah, we take care of safety. Well, who's doing that? And then how are you doing it? Where are your training records? And as soon as we start to dig into it, I'm sure similar to Alex on this in the ISO side and the audit and the quality side, you find that they're only giving lip service to safety, but certainly something you have to take care of. Did you have a disgruntled employee? For a lot of customers, they typically come to me when they've had an accident or they've had a disgruntled employee who's left, who's called OSHA, and all of a sudden OSHA's knocking at the door and they're in big trouble. Are you concerned about liability? Is somebody going to get hurt and sue you and potentially put you out of business with a liability suit? And then finally, in New York State, there's something called a Code Rule 59 letter. If your experience modification rate is over a 1.2 and your payroll is over 800,000, you'll get a letter from the state requiring you to have an audit by a state-approved certified safety professional and then remediate those findings. So if you find anybody that's gotten one of those letters and wondering where to go, we can help you out with that. So let's talk a little bit about the HIA Manufacturing Committee that I co-chair along with Kevin. We offer manufacturing tours, share best practices. We do business matchmaking, provide educational opportunities, and we also try to keep it local. It's our mission in the committee as well as my company to help manufacturers thrive in the high-cost Long Island area. Next month, we have another trade rep coming in that's going to be talking about opportunities in other areas. So, we typically talk about workforce, automation, technology, and also international trade. So we'd love to have you join us if you're available. And a lot of the meetings now are virtual, so tune in. All right, once again, Summit Safety and Efficiency, we do EH&S work, efficiency cost reduction, quality management, technical training for some of our electronics folks like solder certification, material management. We have access to grants to offset a lot of our costs. And then finally, it's tax season. A lot of people in the manufacturing space don't think about what they're doing that is research and development, but a lot of our customers have gotten tens of thousands of dollars per year in credits, to offset the cost of their taxes. So certainly something to take a look at. All right, so let's talk about how to pass an OSHA or an EPA audit. Okay, why is OSHA important? People do silly things, right? Take a look at this painter who's up on 3 5-gallon pails. Is that safe? Not so much. Or you look at this construction site where somebody's working underneath a tractor that's suspended over a couple of places. Boy, one little slip and that poor guy is in world of hurt. So we try to protect people from themselves. That's really the biggest thing. But also, as an employer, you are required to have a safe place for your people to work, and you're responsible for any accidents that happen on the job. So, little history. OSHA began in 1970. Before that, there really were no national laws. The trouble is that, we talked about New York City as one area, but 15 workers per day die from on-the-job injuries, and over 5,600 Americans die annually from workplace injuries. So, certainly an area where we need attention. We need to be paying attention. Here we are in the COVID pandemic, and people are really paying attention to, wearing masks, keeping distance, washing hands, and sanitizing. This is just another area of OSHA that you need to pay attention to and keep your people safe. Once again, it's the employer's responsibility to have a safe workplace for their for their employees. So, somebody always asks me, you know, if I only have 10 employees, do I still have to abide by OSHA? Yeah, if you have a company and you have employees, you have to abide by OSHA. So here's, oh, let's go back. All right, so here's some of the OSHA training requirements. So if an OSHA inspector were to walk in today, this is what they'd be looking for in your training logs, in your training files, right? The big one that they always look for first is hazard communication. And once again, a lot of manufacturers in particular say, well, I don't have any nasty chemicals in my operation, but you know, if you look at simple things like adhesives, cleansers, you know, sanitation products, those all have hazards within, and you have to make sure that you have a policy about hazardous. You know, you identify what your hazardous materials are, and make sure you train people on the proper use and disposal of hazardous materials. PPE, that's a big thing, as many of us know. You know, now, especially with COVID, you got to wear a mask. Within a manufacturing operation, it may be gloves, it may be shoes, it may be you know, hard hats, it may be other things. So something to pay attention to. Lockout, tag out. You want to make sure people are not getting hurt, electrocuted by not tagging out, locking out a machine before they work on it. Respiratory protection. You know, we've walked into a few organizations where you know, you could basically cut the air with the oil fog that they have in the machinery. So you got to make sure that you know, first of all, ventilate, make sure things are safe for the people that are working there. And then if they're working with some type of hazardous material, a lot of times in some of the paint booths, you know, they have respiratory protection. So you have to make sure that people are trained and they're fitted right, and they're wearing the right protection. Noise and hearing, you know, that's another area. If you have a noisy environment, you have to protect folks. Confined space, if people are going down into vaults and spaces where it's confined, they have to be trained. They have to make sure that they're safe there. Asbestos, you know, if you have a building that you've that you've bought that's you know, be prior to the 70s, you have to have it tested for asbestos, and it could be, you know, very expensive. But also, if you don't take care of it, you know, that's a big liable suit waiting to happen. Everybody's required to have an OSHA 300 log, which is the employee accident and injury tracking investigations. Materials handling, safety, safety management. You should have a safety group that's watching out for your employees. Bloodborne pathogens. If you're handling bloods or some type of you know, bodily fluids, you have to pay attention to that. Ladder safety is a big one that happens in a lot of organizations, especially in warehouses. Fire extinguishers, electrical safety, indoor air quality, etc. So a lot of areas to be paying attention to as far as the training requirements. So this usually gets people's attention, right? What are the penalties associated with not abiding by the OSHA requirements? For serious and other than serious, you can get a penalty of up to $13,000. But if you fail to address those issues that an OSHA inspector would find, it's $13,653 per day beyond the abatement day. So that can rack up a bill quickly. And if you have willful or repeated citations or violations, that's, you know, you can get up to a fine up to $136,532. So, you know, for smaller manufacturers, smaller businesses, that's a hefty fine you have to deal with. Who really needs OSHA? You know, this is a video I'm not going to play for you right now, but essentially this is a crane that's fallen, and it has its load that comes down on the ground. And you've probably, you know, if you're in the New York City area, you've probably heard stories of of cranes falling, and unfortunately fatalities involved with that as well. So we talked about the case study with SC Johnson. We had another company that had a new employee in a plastics manufacturing company. And if you've ever seen an injection molding machine, these giant molds slam together. And this new employee thought he could beat the machine. And guess what happened? Yeah, the machine won. So got hurt badly, and OSHA was on their case. We talked about disgruntled employees calling OSHA. The other benefit to having a good safety program and safety help is we found that a lot of contractors that want to do business with some of the big organizations here in the New York metro area have a lot of paperwork that they have to submit. There's a ISNet system that a lot of these companies require, so we help companies to take care of that paperwork for them. But we've worked with a variety of companies. Interestingly enough, our primary targets are manufacturers, distributors, and construction. But we've worked with dentists, limo company, distributors. So all kinds of businesses have to pay attention to the safety in their organization. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about the EPA. Environmental protection, their mission, EPA's mission, and locally here in New York, you got the Suffolk DEP and you got the Nassau DEP. Those are local agencies that come out, inspect your job sites. And again, for those locally, I'm sure you're aware of the plume, the hazardous material plume that's happened in the Bethpage area from the old Bethpage Grumman site and Navy site. So certain areas you got to, as a small business, you sure got to pay attention to that. This could really put you out of business. So some of the things to think about when you're thinking about the environmental impacts. Do you have tanks? If you're looking to buy a new building, does it have buried tanks, underground tanks somewhere? If they do, you're going to have to remediate those. You're going to have to dig them up, or you're going to have to fill them and dispose of them properly. Chemicals, water discharge, pesticides, hazardous waste, and again, simple things you may not consider: mold, air emissions. We had a customer that they thought they were doing a good thing. They invited in the local DEP to say, hey, we're the greatest, and they ended up with a $40,000 fine because they had a compressor that was piping its effluent, the condensate from the compressor, and it was going out into a storm drain. So unfortunately, that's a no-no, and they got a giant fine. All right, definition: EPA defines hazardous materials in terms of situations or conditions, any chemical that will harm a person, right? So I don't know if you've run into this or not, but we had a customer who started operating in a, they got a new building, started operating there, and all of a sudden in the back of the building, they found all these old 55-gallon drums, had no idea what was in there. So, you can't just take that and dump it in the ground or dump it in the septic line. You got to make sure you remediate that. So we had to help them to dispose properly of those materials. Just a little note about the fines. The fines are pretty hefty for EPA as well, right? So we got $75,000 fine here for a wood veneer manufacturer. We got a local manufacturer of air fresheners that had a $82,000 fine. DuPont, the big guys really have to pay attention to this. They had a $10 million fine, and then, like I just mentioned, we had a local company that got a $40,000 fine from Suffolk DEP. All right, so what's the objectives here? You got to protect yourself, protect your employees, and make sure you stay out of trouble with the local authorities. But really, most importantly, is keeping your workers safe, keeping them on the job and working. The biggest complaint that I've heard, or problem I've heard from manufacturers here in the New York area, is, you know, just trying to get people to show up to work. Everybody's afraid of COVID. They're afraid they're going to be affected. So you got to make sure you you have a safe environment, because really the bottom line is you got to keep your people safe, and keeping them safe, you keep them on the job. Any questions? If you have any questions, you could put those in the chat box. And if not, I will thank you and turn it back over to Kevin. So thanks for having me.
Don, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Are you going to be able to stay with us during the demo, during the Q&A session, or we should take the questions right now? What do you think?
Yeah, so we can take the questions now. I actually have to jump to another meeting, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. Yes. No, I don't mind at all. Thank you so much for your time and letting me know, upfront. Let me just take over the screen, and then we'll just ask the questions on your side, and then we'll continue with the demonstration of how to comply with OSHA requirements digitally. So some of the questions actually you addressed already. In terms of OSHA compliance, the size of the organization is not important. Did I understand correctly? Just to address that question.
That's correct. I mean, under 10 employees, they'll probably give you a little break, but really it's everybody's job to comply with OSHA. And it's the right thing to do. You know, it's when you comply with OSHA, you're keeping your people safe on the job, and you're getting production out and doing all the things you need to do with people.
Also during during COVID-19, especially in early months, early days of COVID-19, I'm sure it was difficult for companies. Based on your observation during that time, how the companies, how they were doing in terms of OSHA compliance, especially, because there was some sort of chaos, I must say, among manufacturers, also companies in general. None of us, we didn't know what to do initially, so that was actually difficult. So what was your the observation in general? How companies adopt the COVID-19 environment and at the same time complying with OSHA requirements? How did they do, you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a mixed bag. And, you know, I'm a consultant, so I see a lot of different operations. And there's some people that take it seriously and some people that don't. You know, I had, unfortunately, a customer early on, good customer of ours. I had been talking to the founder and owner, who was in his 80s, and you know, his son really gets it. You know, he understands he's got to comply, and he's got to make sure he keeps people safe. But the owner's attitude, the older owner's attitude was, hey, you know, we've been in business for 50 years, never had an accident, no problem. Well, what happened is, you know, they weren't taking COVID seriously, and there was an outbreak within the organization, and that 80-something person owner is no longer with us. You know, unfortunately, it took him, and I think there was like 17 or 18 people out of the out of the 50 or 60 that worked there that had COVID. So, you know, essentially, unfortunately, they had a fatality, and it took the company down for a while. You know, they had to shut down and make sure they sanitize, make sure they got the right policies in place. So we're now working with them side by side to do that. But I mean, you know, the COVID protections go hand in hand with the other safety protections. So, you know, really, company owners and employees have to abide by all those requirements.
I understand. Thank you very much. One more question before we let you go. We understand we have another meeting coming up, so I appreciate it for your time. So in terms of training employees for OSHA purposes and for safety in general, what should be the frequency of training, you will say?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we start with a company, you know, Rome's not built in a day, right? So we take it step by step. And, you know, for a lot of companies like this one I just talked about, we become their outsourced safety officers. So we go on a fractional basis once a month, and we'll, you know, take each, you saw the list of training, there's a lot to get done, right? So we'll take each piece, each training area, and we'll do that step by step through the year, right? And then there's some recurring training, right? So, you know, you have to have refresher training on a lot of these things. But, you know, the answer is we become their monthly outsourced safety officer, and we build that step by step. We typically will take the items that OSHA will look for first. Like the first thing they always look for is hazardous communications. You know, what are the hazardous materials? Do you have a written plan? Do you have a training program? And have you trained your people? So that would be step one. But we do job hazard analysis, written plans, training, audits, and step-by-step build a strong safety program, which, you know, for the folks that are watching the money, the CFOs and the owners, you get the best workers' comp rates, you avoid the fines and fees, and most importantly, you keep your people safe and on the job.
Thank you, Ron. Much appreciated. Well, looks like we addressed all the questions about your presentation. Before you leave, before you jump to another meeting, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, just once again to reinforce, you know, you have to take safety seriously. You know, we maybe get lazy about things, or, you know, we get you know, we don't pay attention to it, but, you know, you see signs all the time. Wear your seatbelt, right? Wear your mask. Be safe out there. Socially distance. You just have to do it, even though, you know, you're maybe tired of complying with all those things. You know, our job is to help our companies to send their people all home, you know, with all their fingers and toes and limbs, and, you know, the same way they came out, because, you know, their bodies are their employment, right? If you lose a limb, or if you're somehow incapacitated, there goes your livelihood. So it's certainly important for the worker. I have to emphasize that, and you just have to be serious about safety. Keep it top in mind all the time. If you're a business owner, an executive in a company, make sure you always address safety in every meeting.
Ron, thank you very much for insightful presentation, very educational for all of us. So we also share your email address in our slides and in this recording as well. So any of our attendees or anyone watching this video later on, if they have any questions or they'd like to continue this conversation, they can be in touch with you. Ron, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay,
as
thank
always.
you. You all be safe.
You too. Stay safe. Thank you. All right, so we learned from Ron a lot of important information about OSHA compliance and some of the requirements that we learned about. Also, we also learned from him in terms of some use cases from real life experience. Now let's talk about how we can comply OSHA requirements in a digital environment with the help of QDMS. As I mentioned earlier, QDMS is our quality, risk, audit, performance and compliance management software. And today, my colleague Sam will be demonstrating QDMS from the safety point of view, and some modules about safety and security of work environment, as well as employees at any workplace. So Sam, if you're ready, please take over the screen and let's talk about QDMS and complying OSHA in a digital environment.
Sure. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. And thank you for joining today's virtual conference. And this is Sam, the pre-sales software engineer of Bimser International, who is based in New York. And in the following, I will demonstrate you QDMS, our quality risk audit performance and compliance management system. And again, thank you for Ron, his presentation, so that we have an informative presentation and learned about OSHA. And by using QDMS in the following, you will see how you can be benefit by using our system in terms of complying with OSHA and also the also EPA as well. And first of all, QDMS, it is a web-based system. So after deploying our system on your cloud or on-premise server, then you can connect to your QDMS from your web browser, like Google Chrome, and also like Firefox, Microsoft Edge, or Safari. And as you connect it, also QDMS is a permission-based system. As I am now logging in as the admin, so that I have the full control of the system. And different users actually have different permission based on their role, position, profession, department, or group. So they will see what they are supposed to do. The typical example will be the modules that they can see in the system, and also the item under the different modules of QDMS. And right after you log in, you can find all the pending tasks and also the request for approval on this home screen, so that you can get a quick connection to those requests that show on your home screen. And as for the notification, you can find them in the home screen of QDMS, and also the a reminder in your email inbox. So this is the two-way notification features that we have in our system in order to make sure you will not miss any important task that we have scheduled by using QDMS. And as for complying with OSHA, as you notice in Ron's presentation, it's not only about the safety for your employees or the safety on your workspace place, but it's also important that when you are complying with OSHA, you are taking your social responsibility. Like if there's any in the statistic in Ron's presentation, there are 5,600 or 5,600 workers get injured in the workplace. So this is it's just a number, but I must say that if you are complying with OSHA and you're managing your, for example, the PPE, the personal protective equipment, and you have your document in place and also the training, then we can minimize the number of this. And it showed you when your company is using our system, you are taking your social responsibility in order to make sure everyone can get back home safely, so that no one, you are making sure you have a safe place for your employees to work at. And by using QDMS, you can see the PPE module, which is which you can record all your PPE. And right here, you can see who has rent or the PPE that you have distributed to the employees. So right here, we can add a new one, a new record in QDMS. And you can assign the PPE to these employees, and also you can define the reason, like is that for construction, cleaning, or maintenance. And also the description, like for safety. And then you can save it, and this record will be recorded in the system, and this PPE will be assigned and recorded in QDMS so that you can keep tracking of what you have assigned it to different user. And in the PPE module, the personal protective equipment, you can see all the usage, like what kind of PPE, which PPE that we have assigned it, and for the purposes of that particular request. And you can have the reporting tool in our system for creating a report, like based on the PPE, the personal protective equipment. We have assigned it, and also the date and time that we assigned it to this user. And as you know, like for the helmet, and also something like the Google, the helmet, or even like the face mask. So those can be reusable, and then you can get it back from the worker when they have finished their project or their work, and then update the status by using this PPE module. In addition, you can get to the waste management module, which we have in QDMS. So you can record how you manage the waste in QDMS by using QDMS. So as for the waste, you can record it in QDMS as for what kind of waste that you are disposing. And we can create a new record by creating a serial number, saying this 1111111, and then the workspace, like the location that we having this waste, and also who are creating this waste, that will be ourselves by default. So in our system, our company name will be the one who are producing this waste. And after that, we can pick and choose the waste code. And as for the hazard code, it is configurable, meaning based on the standard or the regulation of your state in the US, for example, then we can update the hazard code based upon the state or the country that you are located. And also the waste definition, if it is a waste for mining or any other segregation in terms of the industry. So you can pick and choose right here, and also the physical property of your waste. If it is liquid, solid, gas, or powder, and its color. And once all your information is ready, then we can file this to the next step, like who is responsible to transport this from one location to another. So we can update it, keep updating our record by coming to this page, like the company is going to take our hazardous waste from location A to location B. And this carrier has a license for doing the transportation. Then we can also add the license number of this document of this company, and also the vehicle that they are using for transporting this from A to B. Also, like the transport type, like by the vessel, like ship, or by train or truck, you can have the items that you can choose from the drop-down list, and all the items that you can see in this list, they are configurable, meaning you can add, edit, or delete it. And you can also define the delivery date, like same from today, and record the cost. And once it is ready, then we can also enter the receiving company name like we are sending this waste to somewhere, like to location B, who they are, what they are doing, and then we can pick and choose the receiver company name, and also its license number, and also the wage that they received, in order to make sure there's no discrepancy as what we have sent out. So saying we send out 100 kilogram, for example, and then they only receive like 80 kilogram. So there's 20 kilogram are missing during the transportation or loading or unloading. So we have to carry out our investigation in order to make sure where are those 20 kilograms. And also you can record it, how they manage your waste, like dispose it, meaning like throw it away, or they are going to reuse it. Those can be pick and choose in this list as well. And at last, we can pick and choose the date of acceptance, like the date that received this waste, and also the cost for disposal, for example. Saying it's $1,000, and then we can record it all together, and it will be saved in our system for managing your waste. If there's any incident involved in your company, then you can file a new incident management record. You can create one, and excuse my internet speed. So we have a different OSHA form, like 300 or 301. So you can file the form by filling up all the fields here. And as for all the label and the fields that you can see on this form, they are configurable, meaning you can add, edit, or delete any fields that you can see on your screen or in your QDMS, saying this is the one for OSHA form 300. And then you can find the one for OSHA form 301, which you can enter the title, the phone number, the information about the employee, so forth and so on. So I think Ron cover all this information in detail, while what you should comply with OSHA. And in addition, in this incident management module, you can create some precaution actions. For example, if there's any document that we created for complying with this particular incident, then we can pick and choose the document in our document management module, or we can create some corrective actions as well. It can be a record that we have in our system, meaning this incident management module is communicating with the corrective action module, so that you can pick and choose the existing record, or you can create a new record. So the system will take you to the corrective action modules automatically, so that you can create your corrective action in the corrective action module. Like it is an accident, and then we can pick and choose the department, the location, and enter the non-conformity. And after that, we can pick and choose the solution team in order to deal with this particular non-conformity that we recorded in this incident. So again, all the fields that you can see in this incident management form, they are configurable. So we can change the label or the fields that you can see in the screen or in your system. And as for the training, so you can create different training plan. And then in this training plan, for example, like PPE training, we have the plan, and the plan is the goal that we want to achieve. Once the plan is created, then we can create the training item. The training item is make sure we have different subject or topic that we should cover. And while we are managing the training item, we can pick and choose the start date and end date and also the time. In addition, you can also invite the trainer to this training as well. So the trainer will receive a notification in QDMS and also in his or her email inbox. In addition, you can also attach the attachment as an attachment or a reference for the auditor, for the trainee as for the trainer, excuse me, for the trainer as well. So once your training item is ready, you can also add the trainee into this training, like who should show up in this training, like Carol, David, or Chris, for example. You're more than welcome to add the users one by one or invite the whole user group into this particular training. And once they're ready, and all of the participants will receive a notification in QDMS and also in their email inbox. And then the trainer has to perform the training to the auditee or to the participant. And when the training is performed or finished, then the trainer has to come back here in QDMS and update the attendance and also the score of the training that this trainee received, so that we can keep tracking if this particular trainee attend this particular training in order to comply with OSHA. And in QDMS, there is an extension that helps you to manage the action performance as well. So we have our QDMS extension as known as EBA, which is the workflow engine that helps you to perform and keep tracking the training performance of the users. And I'm going to put this on your screen. Excuse my internet speed. Okay, we are coming to this screen, and then we can assign our training to the trainee right here, and by using the application that we have. And then right here we have our training process. It is integrated with QDMS, and we can assign the training to the trainee, whatever the topic is for complying with OSHA. Like we assign this to the users, and to the data will be captured, and we can pick and choose the training purposes and add a document as the training material for the trainee. So it can be a video, audio, or PDF file, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So we can pick and choose the one to write here. So let's say I'm going to put one of the example here. And in QDMS extension, the system can open this file in different format. So you don't have to install anything else like any other application or software to read your document, like your training material. So once your document is ready, you have the choices to choose if it is periodic and also the expiration date of your of this for completing this particular document, this training. And right after that, we can send this out and we can log in as the trainee. And as the trainee, I can find all the pending tasks right on my home screen. Then I can start proceeding with the training that assigned it to me. Like the training, then I can take my training and read my the material that is attached in this training assignment. So I can answer all those questions in this task in order to perform the training, and then we can submit it. And if you pass the test, and the system will create the certificate automatically in the system. So you can find the certificate like you complete the OSHA training, and then you can find this in the document management module, which I'm going to switch back to my own account. Like in the document management module, we can see like who performed the training. And then find his or her certificate right on the home screen. Like this is the cert for Amelia completing the training. And then you can find this certificate of completion, and then with the date and also the time that is recorded in the certificate. And going back to QDMS, in QDMS, there's a reporting tool that allows you to create the ready-to-make report in every single modules, like the training module, the PPE, the incident management module, or the waste management module. So you can have your report right here, like the graphical report or a report as a list. And you're more than welcome to create your own report and put some criteria or condition before you generating it, like the type and also the time frame. And all your data will be shown as a bar chart and also as a table for you to review. In addition, you can export your report as Excel or PDF for sharing with any responsible parties. It's come to the end of my demonstration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam, for the demonstration.